Hi everyone, my name is Will. Thank you for checking out my channel and my video. Today I'm going to talk about things that you need to consider before taking music lessons. So if you're looking up this video, you're probably interested in taking some sort of music lesson. I teach voice, piano, flute, euphonium, music theory, ear training, and composition. But this could really work for you for any instrument or any kind of music class that you're interested in taking. There are several things to take into consideration as you decide what you would like to do. So here we go. So the very first thing that you need to take into consideration when you're going to go ahead and take a music lesson is cost. Now, cost will happen in several different ways. First of all, you have to find the price point that you're interested in as far as teachers go. Now, I will tell you that sometimes paying a lower price point is not always the best thing when it comes to finding a teacher for music lessons. You're better off sticking to more of a mid-range type thing. The most expensive isn't always the best either. In general, however much someone is charging reflects upon how much experience they've had. And usually how much education they have. For example, somebody who is just a person who really likes music, who does well at it, may offer lessons for $15, whereas somebody who has actually graduated from a college may offer the same lesson for $30. You're better off with a $30 lesson, so you're getting a quality education as opposed to somebody who just does it as a hobby. So do your research and make sure that you're getting what you're paid for. Another thing to consider when you're weighing the cost for music lessons is the instrument itself. You are going to have your instrument. It just is what it is. So even though you may be able to go to a studio that has like a piano for piano lessons, if you don't have piano at home, it's kind of pointless to take the lesson. So figure out what instrument you have, and that'll help you decide what kind of instrument lessons to take. Even voice students, they tend to not realize that there's a cost involved here. Your body is your instrument, so really for voice lessons to be useful and to actually be worthwhile, you need to make sure that you're keeping your body healthy, which means that you may have to buy more expensive and better choiced foods, stay hydrated, things like that. So there's a cost involved with the instrument, no matter what the instrument is. The third thing that you need to think about with cost is actually the price of the books. 90% of the time, teachers are not going to just hand out free music or hand out free books. You really need to decide if you're able to get the books that you'll need. I know for me, for piano students, we start with one book and then we end up, usually by the time they can read music fairly well, we have two books. Lots of other teachers have multiple books. It just depends on the teacher. In general, though, the books aren't going to be that expensive. Most teachers don't really want you to spend all your money on books. But still, you have to keep that in mind. So again, the first thing you need to consider when you're going to decide to take music lessons is cost. So we're talking lesson price, instrument price, and book price. All right, the second thing that you need to consider is time. Okay, so why time? First of all, you need to make sure that you can find somebody who can give you a lesson in the time that you're available. I've personally had people who signed up for lessons, scheduled something with me, and then immediately after called and told me that everything has changed and that they have to do a different day, different time, assuming that I have the time. It's just not the case. So if you're reading something and it says this person is available from this time to this time, that's the time that they're available. Make sure that you have the same time. Another thing about time that you need to go ahead and consider is that you're going to need to practice whatever instrument it is that you end up taking lessons for. So that means that you're going to need to have the time to practice. Now, in general, I tell people, listen, if you are taking a half-hour lesson with me, if you spend 15 minutes for 5 days a week, you'll make progress. You won't make a lot of progress, but you'll make steady progress and probably complete the lessons each week. But in general, most professional musicians practice at least an hour a day. So there is a very large time commitment when you're going to go ahead and start doing music lessons. Another thing that you need to factor in with time is, believe it or not, you got to factor in travel. I know people don't necessarily think about this, but if you're going to go to someone's studio, or if you're going to have other things going on, you need to make sure you have enough time to get there too, so that it doesn't cut into your lesson. Most teachers don't have time to give you extra time at the end of the lesson, because a lot of teachers like myself would book back to back to back. So you got to make sure that as far as time goes, that you are able to get there, and that you're able to get there on time. So that is all of time. The third thing that I would say that people need to go ahead and consider before taking music lessons is to really consider the kind of commitment that you're getting into. And what I mean by that is, you have to actually be dedicated to it. So I said before that you need to practice. Not only is it a time commitment, but a commitment. Commitment. Sorry, I said that twice. It's kind of silly. But you need to be able to sit down and practice what you're working on, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of if you want to or not. You need to be able to focus and just get it done. This kind of thing is something where you are on a plateau system. So music education, as far as that goes, is you'll make a lot of progress, and then all of a sudden you won't make any progress for what seems like forever. Usually it's not that long, but it seems like forever to you. And then all of a sudden something clicks and you go up, and then you hit another plateau. It's during those plateau seasons where people's commitment tends to be questionable, where other things seem more important, or they seem more desirable than the music lesson and the work that needs to be put in to pass the music lesson. So before you sign up for that music lesson, really think, are you going to really give this your all, even if you're having a hard time, or is it something that might go by the wayside? So those are three major things I would think of before I get involved with music lessons. There is a fourth that some people really are focused on. I'm not necessarily as focused on it as a teacher. Sorry, move the camera. Is some people are really, really concerned with teaching style, as far as how the teacher teaches and the style the teacher teaches. I know for me as a teacher, I try to find out what your strength is. I help you keep that strong, and then I help you also learn how to strengthen your weaknesses. I feel that everybody is different, so having one solid set teaching practice doesn't really work, in my opinion, but that's just me. So I know there are people who are out there looking for Suzuki method. There are people out there looking for hand over hand. There are people out there looking for specific teaching things. Like for piano, there's people who only want people who teach from Bastian or Alfred or whatever it is. That's okay if you really want to consider that, but I'm telling you that's probably the least of your worries, which is why I almost didn't put it on this list. You are better off getting somebody who is really dedicated to teaching and really can connect with you than somebody who teaches in a style that you like. Another interesting thing is I mentioned, how they teach. I'm a singer. I'm from Detroit originally, Warren, right outside of Detroit. So my voice sounds more soulful, and I've had people who just assumed I couldn't teach them things like rock or things like country because I have a soulful voice. That's really not true. The way your teacher performs as a musician doesn't have much of an impact as to how they can teach you. It's just all how you present things. So, again, I would say time, I would say cost, I would say commitment. Those are very important. I would say worrying about how the teacher teaches or what the teacher teaches as far as what style they use as a person, it really doesn't make much difference as long as the teacher is interested in helping you achieve the goals you are interested in. I do caution you, things that people have a hard time with when they first start taking lessons. First of all, you will not be able to play a very, very complicated piece in 2 months. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. No teacher is really going to be able to tell you when you'll be able to play X, Y, and Z. What I can tell you is I will 150% help you play X, Y, and Z. We will get to the point where you can do it, but it's all on you. I'm going to give you the techniques and the building blocks you need to get to playing that. Then you have to take your time and your commitment and practice so that you'll get good enough that we can work on that song that you're working on. So don't get frustrated right off the bat because you're not playing Beethoven right as soon as you start. That's impractical and it's a bad idea. Don't do that. Another thing is trying to get a teacher to make you sound like X, Y, and Z. Again, I just mentioned I have a soulful voice, but that doesn't mean I can make you have a soulful voice. Or I have a more lyric way of playing music, which, for those of you who don't know what that means, I'm more smooth, drawn out, connected. I'm not very staccato. I'm not like, ah, ah, ah. That's my personal style. I can teach you the style of singing smoothly connected. I can teach you how to sing a run, but that doesn't mean you are going to sound like me or like Adele or like I can't think of people's names today. I'm so sorry. Your favorite artist. You're just not going to sound like them because you are not them, and that's okay. As musicians, we need to realize that we are creating art, so it needs to come from inside of us and out for people to like it and connect with it. So pretending to sound like someone else or trying to sound like someone else kind of it hurts the art, and we lose the communication aspect of the music, because you're pretending to be something you're not. So don't be so concerned about finding a teacher who can make you sound like whomever it is you're trying to sound like. It's just not a good idea, and it's not going to work. And the third thing I would say, and caution you of when you get into music lessons, is being frustrated that you're singing slash performing music from a genre you don't care for. Now listen, I'm going to be flat out and honest. I understand the value of country music. I do. And some of it is good, but for the most part, I don't like it. But that doesn't mean that I won't take on a challenging country song to practice certain techniques. And you're going to find that good teachers will push you through all kinds of different genres so that you can pick up techniques from each genre and use it in your own performance. That means that you're going to just have to trust your teachers and understand that just because maybe you're a piano player and you want to be the best jazz musician ever, you might have to play a few classical pieces to get there. Or if you're like a flute player and you want to be in a symphony orchestra, well, that's great, but you might have to play through a few show tune pieces as if you're in the pit band to get a skill here or there that you might not be achieving. I see it the most in singers, honestly. They really want to be a X, Y, and Z. And again, I might, especially since I do voice, I can tell you from personal experience, I've had students sing stuff from all kinds of genres just to pick up things like how to use dynamics, how to use runs, how to use slides, different vocal tricks and techniques, different breathing skills. I can't tell you the number of times I've had people do certain Taylor Swift songs because it seems like she never breathes, just to get them used to breathing in a way that will help them perform at whatever level they wanted to do. So again, don't go into music lessons thinking that you're going to perform the way you want to perform, you're going to learn everything quickly, and you're going to sound like somebody else. It's just not going to happen. A good music teacher will help you be the best musician you can be and sound like you, even if you're doing someone else's music. I hope this helps you decide on what kind of music lessons you'd like to take, and it helps you take an informed look into yourself to see if music lessons are right for you, or if it's something that like sounds good but isn't necessarily good. I'm sure that any music teacher that you know will be happy to talk to you about their personal experience and their way of teaching, what they know about music lessons to help you make a better decision. If you feel like you want to ask a question to me, definitely leave it in the comments section. I always reply to my comments. So please do. I will answer it as honestly as I can. And yeah, I hope this really helps. Well, have a great week, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with a friend, and I will see you next week. Bye.